Hi, Miss Allen. Thank you for meeting with us today. Um, I'm going to take the time to talk about your daughter Tina and how she's doing. Now, we do have a few things on the agenda to talk about, and at any time, please feel free to stop me if you don't understand it. So, let me go ahead and get started. First, we gave Tina the test of problem solving, and you might hear it as an IQ test. And we like to think of it like a thinking skills. So, on this test, most children score about 100. We're looking for scores between 90 to about 100, which are considered average. Tina's overall score, though, was 78, and that is the test. In this test, it's considered pretty low. So, she is in about the 7th percentile, 7 out of 100, meaning most kids her age scored higher than she did on a full test. So it is important to look at the total score as to why it's so low. But Tina had the most difficulty in 2 areas, which we will review that right now, and it is language. She had a difficulty in that, and understanding. So, because she already has a speech and language disability, these language parts can be a bit heavy on her. So, it doesn't really show us entirely what she can do, but we'll continue to look into it. We also looked at a part of the test that uses patterns and shapes and puzzles, and doesn't depend much on talking or her communication. So, considering that it's a nonverbal index, on this part she scored a 90. So it is an average range at about 25 out of 100 students. So when we talk about language, her problem solving looks closer to other children her age. So in a way, this tells us that she can think and solve problems, and we need to support her language and memory to help her show what she knows, and we will work on that. Next, we look at Tina's school skills, right, which is the reading, the math, and the writing, and using a test called the WJ. Again, this test she scored about 100, and it's average for her age. Tina's score, sorry, we look at about 100, but her score was in the low 60s. So scoring in the 60s usually means that it is below her grade level. So it usually gives a rough age like stance for that. It also suggests that her basic reading, writing, any of those in her age group, 4 and 5 to 5 years, even older, we will help her through it. This just tells us she needs a lot more support and careful planning, instruction in her academic classes. We also looked at Tina's brain handles visual information, how she makes sense of what her eyes see. And it's called the test DTVP, right? And it focuses on a part that measures how well she can understand visual information without using too much of her hands. On this visual test, she scored very low. And in the range of very poor out of 100 students. So on one part, it was shapes, and you know, the other part was recognizing pictures, and also just slightly different. It might have been overwhelming for her. And this just helps us understand why tasks like reading and uh, worksheets and a lot of information can be especially hard for her, given that we know exactly what's going on with her disability. So just using clear, uncluttered pages and giving step-by-step support for her. We also looked at Tina's adaptive skills. So we used like a general adaptive composite, right? And the first area, big area, I should say, is the conceptual skills, things like communication, reading, and math in real life. Her use of school skills in the real life were lower, and they do need support. The second area we were looking at was the practical skills, and it's more like self-care, getting around, doing things herself, staying safe, those things, just like as a reminder that she does need help with that, and you know, we will help her through that, through those tasks. She may need reminders as well for her hygiene or dressing. So she is in the range of 45 out of 100 for her social scoring, and has age appropriate social behavior in many situations. Finally, we did collect information on Tina's self-injury, biting herself and banging her head. We looked at several days of the data that was conducted and given to us, and she happens to do this from what we noticed. She'll hurt herself when she's interrupted or isn't able to speak. When another student interrupts her or asks a question or she's told no. Just a lot of things going on with the situation. But Tina is, of course, we will help her out with this as well. These are just things that we noticed on her evaluation for behavior, or the biting episodes, right? When we also tied this together, it looks like her self-injuries are tied to communication or frustration. Maybe she just can't seem to say what she means. So it's a form of expressing big feelings when she doesn't have another way to say or show them. So we just need to teach her a safer way, let her know when she's frustrated, not being heard, give her chances to speak up, plan on how we can respond to her, but also help her learn better ways of coping. So to kind of bring this all together, we will look into all of this, like her thinking, problem solving, reading, math skills, visual processing, everyday life skills, self-injuries. Just our goal as a team is to support Tina in her areas of need, and this is what our team is about. Just structuring these goals around her so that she feels heard, she's stress-free, she can communicate her needs. And this is what these assessments were about. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time to come over and talk about your daughter, Tina. I appreciate you, Miss Allen, and please feel free to contact us if you have any further questions or if you'd like to talk more about this assessment.